Hello, in this video I'll be talking about tips and tricks for dock fishing. This will mainly be for bass, but other fish can be caught. The first is targeting a fish. There are many ways to target a fish. The biggest thing you can do is choosing your lure or bait. On screen now is a lure targeting kelp bass and sand bass. This one can catch kelp bass, sand bass, and mackerel. Keep in mind, just because you have a lure that targets a fish doesn't mean you're automatically only going to catch that fish. You can catch fish other ways other than the lure. Take this for example. Notice how the eyes in the bass are above? This is so it can see bait above it. Let me demonstrate to you this in a picture. The bass sits in the bottom, looking up, waiting for a fish to come over it. Now you may be thinking, but what does this have to do with targeting fish? Well, look at this. The fish can easily see a lure moving horizontally. If it was moving vertically, there'd be a very slim chance of the bass being able to actually see it. Now let's compare this with the mackerel. They see horizontally, so a line going vertically down would be much easier for them to see. Now, you can't catch a mackerel going horizontally or a bass going vertically, but it's much more likely vice versa. Tip number 2. Fish near structure or shadow. Predator fish like to hide in shade near light so they can hide and then strike at a fish. They also like being near structure for some reason. Here would be a perfect spot to cast. You'd be going right next to pillars, right next to shade, and right next to the light. Another good way to target fish is the terrain. You're not going to catch a stingray in a place full of rocks, or a sand bass with no sand, or a rockfish with no rock. This one just use common sense. Fish in a place without rocks and a lot of sand if you want to catch stingrays or halibut. Fish in a rocky place if you want to catch fish that hide in rocks like obeli. Kelp bass like to hide in eelgrass so you can cast near there. Just think that you were a fish and decide where would you go. This place would be a good place to catch kelp bass as there is lots of shade and there's eelgrass underneath. And it's true. I've caught hundreds of bass in that area. This tip's on catching fish. When you have a fish on, you need to pull back without reeling, then suddenly lean forward and reel while it's going forward. This is because when you're leaning forward, it's taking tension off the line, making it a lot easier for you to reel in. As soon as you're done reeling, pull back up again. Another tip. When you think you have a fish on, make sure you pull back as hard as you can. So if the hook's in there, it's in there for good. This is known as setting the hook. This tip is for when you already caught a fish and you're trying to release it back. You see those gill plates, the things where the gills are? Squeeze those really tight and then you can easily get the hook out because those fish can't do anything when their gill plates are being squeezed. Here's the last tip. When you catch a bass, hold its lip really hard. This will pretty much paralyze the fish and it won't be able to move much. This is a good pose for being able to pose your fish. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on my next video.